This tape is called Right Hammerings. Got that? Right Hammerings. It's important because when we were first booting around the idea for this video, there were certain people who you can tell had never been to a football match in their life because they said, why don't we call it Great Victories? As if anyone comes out of a football ground on Saturday afternoon, hears the results filtering through and says, oh, I see Leeds had a great victory. No, what you say is, I see Palace got a right hammering. Because that's what's important. Who was embarrassed? Who was thrashed, walloped, humiliated? It's that knowledge that makes the after-game drink that much sweeter. And the sweetest part of all, it's those moments where you feel everything's for the best in this best of all possible worlds. A friend comes into the pub late and says, you know Arsenal got beat 7-1? Yeah, we do. It's on telly tonight. It doesn't happen often, but it is to those moments that this tape is dedicated. These days, thank God and quite rightly, every second of every football match seems to be preserved on video. But it wasn't long ago that an extraordinary scoreline would be lost forever, only recorded in pen and memory. For instance, the two biggest scorelines I think in British football history were Arbroath 36, Bonaccord 0, Preston 26, Hyde 0. Now, who amongst us wouldn't like to have that on tape? Instead, all we've got is a pen and ink engraving of the 15th goal. Big deal. However, some fragments of historic games do exist. February 1960, for instance. Tottenham Hotspur v Crewe. That night, the team shared 15 goals. It's just that big, bossy Tottenham took more than their fair share. At least Crewe were consistent. They scored twice in the first tie to hold Spurs to an honourable draw. And they scored twice in this one too. Though hardly expecting to win, they must have hoped to make the big boys fight all the way. But nope. You mathematicians out there will have figured by now that we're watching the first of 13 goals Crewe conceded that night. Spurs, by the way, are in black and white. A feature of the evening is a rather sad rolling dive effected by the Crewe goalkeeper, perhaps just to let us know he was there. Of course it wasn't totally one-sided, even though the score at half-time was 10-1. No, the record proves Crewe got forward occasionally, though their shots were about as desperate as the ones the director bunged in for editing purposes. Crewe naturally needed all the help they could get, and that didn't include this pitch. But the referee decided it was playable, although Moses might have decided it was partable. Still, Tottenham were above such inconvenience in 1960. Bang, there's another one. And another fine old corny cutaway of the crowd, this time featuring a haircut unlikely to go without comment these days, such as, "Oil, we're rich."
Little Tommy Harmer fooled the defence every way, put Jones in possession on the left, and nobody could stop the winger. Jones sent it to Allen, and the inside left got goal number 5.
The very next season, Crewe drew Tottenham again in the 4th round of the FA Cup, and this time the team shared 6 goals. You figure it out. That last goal is a perfect example of something you'll see a lot of on this tape: ugly supporters. No, it's when a game becomes so one-sided that forwards become bored of celebrating. It could be argued that that last result was no big deal. After all, it was Tottenham's heyday and Crewe have always been Crewe. But 13-2? 13-2. That's a result straight out of the Sunday Parks League. Besides, we're not dealing here in classic games or even upsets. What we're after is the full theatre, the majesty of football. Right from the kick-off when the team is optimistic. Then they go a couple of goals down but still think something could be retrieved, right through to those final minutes of, oh God, please let the earth open up and swallow us, the full horror. But that said, I am a bit of a doctor of soccer psychology, so I do understand the very basic human need to see Spurs suffer as little Crewe suffered. So,
Webster, that one's for Durban. Durban's got his fellow number 4, Alan Murray, with him. Oh, chance for Durban! He's there! Alan Durban scored, a mistake by the Spurs defence, and Alan Durban made no mistake from that.
I can't remember if Tottenham's away shirts in 1969 were pale blue or lemon, but judging by this hopelessly suicidal clearance, let's say lemon. Tottenham, for some reason, played like a team who'd been on the beer the night before.
Trent gets it away, we'll throw in. McGovern for O'Hare, and Hector going through very fast. Kevin Hector in the penalty area. It could be number 2. It's a goal. Yes, it must be over the line. Undoubtedly over the line. Beyond any shadow of doubt, Kevin Hector makes it number 2.
Yes, heavily on the beer, sluggish, indifferent and puffed. For instance, what a splendid piece of judgment this is by Phil Beale as he watches the ball roll by and over the line, without a shadow of a doubt.
Gilzine putting it back for Pratt. Mullery inside him. Phil Beale. The cross now for Gilzine. Mullery. Greaves. Oh, good work by Greaves, and what a great save by Greaves.
Some were clear-headed. Yeah, well, you wouldn't catch Jimmy hanging around the hotel bar in those days.
Crowd boiling with excitement now. As Hinton goes across to take this corner. Derby County leading 2-0, and good football from both sides now. Here's the in-swinger by Hinton. Coming in, out goes Hector, it's there, number 3! Carlin, it's Carlin the scorer, Willie Carlin. A glorious goal by Willie Carlin, just flew off his head. And Derby County are almost incredibly 3 goals in the lead. Alan Durban. Roy McFarland is there, Willie Carlin. This is Carlin. Behind him is Durban. There's Durban. Oh, nice piece of play through the legs. O'Hare! It's a goal! A magnificent goal by O'Hare! What an absolute beauty!
A truly appalling defence on the day, just begging to be hammered. Watch as there are 5 of them. 5 of them just loafing around like the pillars at Stonehenge. Inevitably, the crowd began to chant, "We want 5," although 5 would have let this Tottenham side off easy. The pace of the game began to slow down as Derby sensed Tottenham's submission and began to try to taunt them, embarrass them into making a game of it. Tottenham were content to be mere Valium made flesh. They rarely bothered to challenge and watched as if in a dream as Derby simply pushed it about.
McGovern getting up. Hinton. McGovern. To O'Hare. Hinton and Durban's on the left. O'Hare. Hector coming up quickly. A good one. Number 5. Durban. Durban makes it 5.
Spin that one back and watch Alan Durban celebrate with a first-class silly walk. Although in performing comedy, he seems to have strained himself. There's a bigger Tottenham shame day coming up, but first, here's a couple of games in which their opposition thought that White Hart Lane would be the ideal place for a 90-minute nap. The first match was to be a red letter day for Forest stand-in keeper Eric Hume. That's literally stand-in keeper Eric Hume, OK?
Finding Knowles. Again, Spurs beginning to dictate it. Knowles this time looking for Gilzine. Gilzine with his head, and Peters! And that's the goal! And one that counts from Martin Peters with 20 minutes gone. Beautifully nodded down for him. Peters. and neighbour. Peters has gone on the outside again. Beautifully played for him, and he is completely free. Chivers! Oh, a magnificent goal! Superbly created and brilliantly finished by Peters and Chivers between them. A really magnificent Tottenham goal. Perryman. Kinnear. Gilzine trying to dummy Chapman. And he might try again, and he's given a penalty. Goal number 3. 3 goals in 5 minutes for Spurs.
Nice one there, Eric. Of course, when he finally did grab the ball, the referee went and blew for half-time. In the second half, this cap that he grabs, well, it may as well have had bells sewn on it. The half began with Tottenham understandably full of fire and fun, and Forest displaying a bizarre anything-goes attitude that bordered at times on the plain silly. Pretty soon, nobody's talking to each other. The hands go on the hips. The minds are obviously elsewhere. Possibly they're thinking, well, we're going to be relegated in 1993 anyway, so what's the point?
Mallory. Still Mallory looking for an angle for a shot, and getting one in! Alan Mallory, number 4. Now knows. Played there for Chivers, and now for Pearce. Is this the chance? Oh, marvellous goal, and it's given without any doubt at all. The referee, in fact, looked at the linesman. He kept his flag down, and Pearce, from the sharpest of angles, really whacked it past Eric Hume.
Surely the hapless Eric Hume by now. Keepers on off days are always described as hapless, and I've rarely seen a keeper with less hap. It was a belter of a shot though. However, the next goal sees Eric defensively naked and performing the flapping dance of the damned, toing and froing before unleashing one of football's least convincing dives.
And Peters, in fact, Chivers. Now surely someone will have a go, and it's there by Jimmy Pearce. It almost looked as though Spurs had lost their chance. Pat Jennings applauds from the other end.
It's actually an own goal, you know this. With Eric just a fingertip away, you watch as the 4 takes it off the head of the number 6 who had it covered. Toward the end of the game, Tottenham rather sportingly took some of their players off to even things up. Here we see the athletic-looking Forest bench watch as the inevitable, lonely, pointless consolation goal is scored. What nuisances consolation goals are, like giving a starving dog a rubber bone.
It's Richardson bringing it away again for Nottingham Forest to Ian Moore. Skillfully getting past Knowles, putting it across there, and a goal!
Here's a nice touch, the ironic laugh at the would-be celebrations of his teammates. Now here's a game I remember so well because it was on Match of the Day and I fell asleep and missed it, and it's irritated me ever since.
Again, good approach play by Tottenham. Here's Hoddle. Moore's got up there, Lee got it! Lee climbed it. Taylor shaking off Gould. 4 Tottenham players ahead of him. 5 now that Hoddle's made a run down the right. Which was how the second goal came, really. Taylor! Peter Taylor makes it 3. There's McAllister. Oh, a lovely dummy by Peter Taylor. He's got 4 in the middle as well. Oh, they all missed it, and Morris put it in.
Why does Tottenham number 7 John Pratt hold his head as that goes in? Anyway, it's a hilarious goal and bears seeing many times. By now, Rovers knew the game was up. Oh, right up over their heads. But surely even they couldn't have known quite how much was still to come.
Pratt getting in, Lee is there again! He's done it! It's a hat-trick! McNabb. Hoddle. Taylor leaving it. Moores is through!
I've developed a theory about what happened to Bristol Rovers on this day. You've heard of a stealth bomber. Well, this must be a stealth ball, because it simply refuses to show up on Bristol's defensive radar. And 6-0.
Has to be said, without taking anything at all away from Tottenham, that Bristol Rovers looked a very poor side, especially in defence.
Oh, thanks, John.
And as Moore's on again here for the hat-trick, he's done it! He's got his third as well!
There's some real Superman leaving via a window stuff from the goalkeeper here. What is he diving at? Perhaps to stop his own number 3 from running into the post.
Oh, and John Pratt's away. Lee is in the middle. Taylor trying to get there. It's going to come to Taylor now. It's come to Lee. 8. Moores. Hoddle! He looked offside, perhaps, but the referee's given the goal.
Unstoppable Tottenham, eh? Well, less than a year on, and the pile drivers become the pile driven.
Case. This hit, but it's found Dalglish and he turns and scores! Dermot put in by Highway. And the chest down by Perriman dropped nicely for Dalglish, and now Kennedy. And Souness, can he turn on it? Pulled it back for Case. Dalglish! Dermot. Kennedy at the far post, and in it goes. Johnson on for McDermott. Ray Kennedy in the middle, the ball with Dalglish, and now Johnson, Souness. Dalglish did well to turn on the shot. Johnson, 4-0. To Taylor with just Villa to support him at the moment, and Case robbed him as clean as a whistle. And now here's Dalglish put away by Ray Kennedy. Dalglish for Johnson, number 5. Well, it's like Moses parting the waters whenever Liverpool go through the middle there. Highway to Souness. Chip in for Alan Kennedy. Gets a second chance and pulls it across for Johnson. Off the line brilliantly by Duncan, as Johnson was already celebrating his hat-trick. Brilliant clearance by Duncan. Now Highway. Can he get in on the scoring act? Penalty! And Duncan, having just saved Spurs a goal, looks now as though he's given away the 6th by bringing down Highway.
A collector's item, this? No, not a penalty at Anfield, but the fact is it looked like one, didn't it? Anyway, they missed it. So the referee said, well, take it again. Here's a weird one. They're 5-0 up, so why does Alan Kennedy feel the need for these theatrics? Can't bear to look, lovies. After all, you know what they say, 5 goals is a dangerous old lead in football. Anyway, up steps Phil Neal and makes it 6-0. And Liverpool aren't done yet.
Ray Kennedy to Dalglish. Johnson. And Johnson the ball
space for Highway, and Highway a brilliant crossback, and what a classic goal.
Right now, Tottenham supporters are thinking, well, at least they haven't remembered December the 23rd, 1978. Well, we have, and it's next. It's just before we see that, it's Tottenham v Arsenal, by the way, we should say something about local derbies. Do you know anyone who actually enjoys local derbies? I mean, when the fixture list first gets printed, it's the first thing we look for, and yet nobody can truly look forward to them, can they? They're a bit like some foul hybrid of a dentist trip and exam time anxiety. Sure, if you win, the emotional rewards are great. If you win, it's just that most of the time, don't you suspect that things like what we're about to see are just waiting to happen?
Ardiles. Oh, and the back pass by Pratt has caught Lacey, and Sunderland's in there. And it's in! Sunderland for Arsenal! And the first minute!
I really do think this is perhaps the most risible, nobody talked to him for a month style back pass I've ever seen. And it's John Pratt again. Perhaps that's why he was looking so shocked a year earlier in the Bristol Rovers game. He knew that this moment was out there, waiting for him. Ah well, first minute, 1-0. Plenty of time to turn this one around.
Hoddle. Brady's pass, and a beauty it was too to Sunderland. Stapleton on the far post. Sunderland shot! Oh, it's in! He scored again! Looks for Arsenal. Oh, that was beautifully done between Ricks and Brady, and Brady now has got Stapleton and Sunderland in the centre. Still Brady, beautifully done. Stapleton! 3-0 to Arsenal, and a brilliant goal.
Hey kids, lest we forget, the flared tracksuit. Come on, get him off.
Every Arsenal player wants the ball. Three waiting again for the cross from Price. Stapleton. Oh, Pat Rice in there. Oh, Brady won it beautifully. Look at that! Oh, look at that! What a goal by Brady! On by Stapleton to Sunderland. Is this a hat-trick now? It is.
And some things never change. The Arsenal bench as freewheeling and emotional as ever. And nice towels on the laps, fellas. And yet more capital punishment. This time North versus East, and an Arsenal humbling of the ever-fragile West Ham.
Finds Joel Radford out on the side for so long, but back to good effect now. Oh, Armstrong in the echo. Ball with a shot. Back to goal. Exactly 2 minutes gone. Ball. It's not a back pass either. Rice right in there. Brady right in there. Kidd might get a shot. And a penalty.
Penalty given. So Mervyn Day again faces Alan Ball from about the sort of range from which Ball scored after 2 minutes. But now it's a simple matter of Ball against Day. And he saved it. Armstrong back again, and Ball couldn't quite turn it in, and a free kick this time given to West Ham.
Taylor. Tremendous acceleration. Now finding Brookie.
Tried a little curler there to Billy Jennings. And it's there by Jennings, 1-1.
And Liam Brady with it. Long one there. Mancini had come up for him. Now Kidd.
And another penalty. Is it going to be 1-1 or is it going to be 2-1 to Arsenal? It's 2-1 to Arsenal. He sent it the other way. Oh, and he hit that straight at George Armstrong. Now here's a chance for Armstrong, and that's number 3. 2 goals in a minute.
Oh, I think we can take one more look at that divine clearance by Billy Bonds, eh? Incidentally, to any current West Ham defenders who are watching, we've got absolutely hundreds of moments like that.
Brady's going to take this one. Mancini's right in there, jockeying for position. Curled in there to Radford. Hit the crossbar. And Kidd! Has he given it? Yes, he's given the goal. Brian Kidd has scored number 4 for Arsenal. It's with ball. Armstrong again. Kidd. And that's another one.
Brian Kidd remains strangely annoyed throughout this game. OK, he's upset here because his goal gets disallowed and he makes a bit of a fool of himself in front of his friends. Still nothing to upset a team winning 5-1, I wouldn't have thought. Moments later, he crashes the ball against the bar and is absolutely livid. I think here's a man who really hates West Ham. Fortunately, he does manage to get it all out of his system just a few minutes later.
Ball played through to Kidd again. Now, will it be the hat-trick this time? It is!
And whatever hump he was carrying, he's just dropped all over Mervyn Day. And so to the 4th of November 1982, Everton v Liverpool. For Everton supporters, it feels like it just happened this morning. They can still taste it, smell it, still feel it, touch it. Well, perhaps not touch it, but they must live with it, always.
King. Anson in so fast. And leads the charge. Rush to his left. Onside. Ian Rush. 1-0 Liverpool. Brilliant goal. Marvellously made by Alan Hansen. And put away by Ian Rush with the minimum fuss.
Now here's a bit of history. This would be Glenn Keely for Everton hauling back Kenny Dalglish in the days before the professional foul was a mandatory sending off. Nevertheless, the referee decides quite rightly to send him off. You want to know the punchline? This was Glenn Keely's debut for Everton, and he never played again.
Rush. Deflection. Has taken it in. Oh, he's got free, Dalglish. And put in by Lawrenson. What a simple goal. And Liverpool here have got Everton on the rack. A thread is what they need to just get their game together. And Liverpool won't let them have it. Dalglish, look at that, rushes through. This could be history here for Ian Rush if he scores. He's at the post. He might score now, he has. And it's the first hat-trick in a Merseyside derby since 1935. King who slipped. And this is where Liverpool have made the game look so easy. They've come out of defence, got into their stride and seem to get an extra man through. It's Ian Rush. Can he score his 4th? It looks as though he has. Yes! 5-0.
While we're talking about local rivalries, do you know I kind of miss the home internationals? You remember that little local World Cup we all used to qualify for? There was one particularly sweet game in 1961, and what happened was... Oh, there go the Scots. They know what's coming. They've changed the channel to watch a cartoon for a while. Well, we're all going to see a little bit of low comedy now. England 9, Scotland 3. Ask yourself, yes, Loch Ness Monster, yes, UFOs. But what we're about to see, was this all part of some big elaborate hoax? Did such a game ever happen? Well, yes, it did, and here it is.
About 100,000 were present when Her Majesty the Queen took her place. Eric Caldo and Johnny Haynes led their teams onto the field before the Scottish and English 11s were presented to Prince Philip. Then Scotland kicked off, and almost at once the white-shirted Englishmen were on the attack. In the 9th minute, Bobby Robson scored. Yes, an early shock for the visitors, and England maintaining pressure. Then after 10 minutes, Jimmy Greaves put England 2 up. Before half-time, a third, and slow motion shows a mistake by Haffey, pounced on by Greaves. Just my cuppa, mate. Scotland took up the tail in the second half and began to look like taking revenge. In 3 minutes, Dave Mackay's free kick got right through. Okay, Arjun. Almost at once, a Davy Wilson header made it 2-3. Intoxicating football. England, however, had their own ideas and drove down towards the Scots' goal. A sharp free kick, Happy fumbles, a Douglas shot, and it's 4-2. England's 5th came from Bobby Smith. Scotland, still undismayed, now made a great effort. They were rewarded by a goal, credited to Pat Quinn. Then came 4 English goals in 7 minutes, one from Johnny Haynes. Another from Johnny Haynes. Jimmy Greaves gets his 3rd. Duly noted by Scots, not to mention Italians, and Smith again with England's 9th. And we'll no get the fares back. But for a clear case of hands, England might have made it 10. Scottish hey! But of course English fans had more to cheer about. England's victory was overwhelming and well-deserved. So was the Championship Cup, which the Queen, who is patron of the Football Association, presented to Johnny Haynes. It was a match that will long be remembered by soccer fans. Johnny won't forget it in a hurry.
Good, eh? You know, while we were watching that, one of the engineers here said, of course, if Cloughie was in charge of the side, would still be doing that to the rest of the world. Who knows? It's emotional and unprovable nonsense. But let it be noted for the record that Clough's sides could be particularly cynical and savage whenever the opposition appeared to wobble.
Still the pressure mounting on Arsenal. And again, Davis gets it down. McGovern! Stopped by Simpson! And finally Wilson pounces.
So the early signs were it was going to be one of those afternoons when everything would go Arsenal's way. I mean, how much do you think Simpson knew about keeping that one out? But for the rest of the afternoon, Arsenal were to have no such luck.
Cross ball, Simpson, and Hector! McGovern has scored it! John McGovern gets his first goal of the season!
Two other things to note during this magnificent game. 1, the marvellous white boots of Alan Hinton. And 2, Hugh Johns. What a great commentator he was.
And that's McFarlane! No, it's pushed back. Referee Jones says that he was not ready for the kick to be taken. Well, would you believe that? There was a case where you give a free kick to give a side an advantage, they take advantage of it, they knock the ball into the net, and it's got to be retaken because the defence wasn't ready.
Big Roger Davis. And it's come for Hinton, and he can whack it from there. Oh yes! That will do for Alan Hinton. Hinton. Webster. Hinton the cross now. Oh yes! McFarlane! Right on the post. It's 3-0. We want 4 is what the crowd is shouting. Hinton might just be the man to deliver it for them. And that is Hector! And they've got their 4! How about that? Wilson again, terribly exposed. As if Hector had listened to the crowd and says, okay, you want 4, we'll give you 4. So this dead ball specialist, Hinton. Far post, and it's Davis! That's another one! Roger Davis scores his first ever league goal! And another tragedy for Bob Wilson and the Arsenal defence.
But before that argument about Brian Clough being the king across the water builds up any more steam, let's just take it off the boil with one date. December the 1st, 1973, and Brian Clough's infamous short reign down there at Brighton. When he arrived, the locals were strewing roses from top hats. It was all going to be different now. Happy days. But after a while, it was clear things weren't channeling at all smoothly for Brighton Bri. If the Emperor wasn't naked, he was starting to give the locals views of his pence. And then Bristol Rovers turned up. Suddenly the pence were off.
And now it's Dobson, virtually with his first touch, and Warboys now being chased by Norman Gall. And Gall was quite clearly holding him back, and this is a goal! Yes! Scored by Bannister. And Bristol Rovers in the lead with 4 minutes gone. George Lay and Taylor once more getting it away to Warboys. Bannister once more to Warboys, and Dobson in a lot of space down the left. Here's Dobson. And 3 Rovers players up wanting the ball, and there's number 7, Fernley, and that's number 2, a beautiful goal. Beautiful breakaway by Bristol Rovers, with Brighton once again all over the place. Nice little payoff there to O'Sullivan, wanting perhaps a little too much time, but then getting in his shot, and he scored! O'Sullivan! 2-1. Warboys turned on for Fernley. Controlled beautifully there by Gordon Fernley. Now for Jacobs again, hit across their goal. Bannister's header, and there it is, another one. Number 9 is Warboys. But number 8 coming to the picture is Stanton. It's Warboys who hits it, and this is going to be the next one, and it's the hat-trick for Bruce Bannister.
Brian Clough at Brighton. Huge things were expected of him. Brighton was supposed to go sailing up the league, and he couldn't have picked a better day to bring the 2 boys, could he?
Dobson on the far side in a lot of space. Curling it through once more, there's Warboys! Number 5! Unbelievable stuff here by Bristol Rovers. 5 goals away from home. Spirit. Straight to Dobson. And into the path now of Warboys. This will be the number 6, I would think, and it is! A real smash and grab again.
They're useless, aren't they, Dad? I know, son, I know. Hey, Dad, you think you better tell Eddie to come on? Come on! Eddie! Come on! Oh, God.
Parsons playing a long ball forward. Warboys is onside. Is this going to be his hat-trick? It is!
7-1. I've let in 7 goals. That's not so bad. Lots of teams get beat 7-1. Can't think of any at the moment. Still, it's not 8. That's the important thing. As long as today we don't get beat by 8.
And here's Warboys onside. The linesman's kept his flag down, and that's his 4th goal. And Bristol Rovers 8th. Templeman. Hilton losing it. Well, no, his courage carried him through, and it found Towner. A low cross this time. And there it goes! That's the second one for Brighton.
So yeah, suddenly the Emperor had no clothes. And amazingly, just like in the story, it took a little boy, this one called Nigel, to draw everyone's attention to it.
I got Nigel Clough here with me. He wants to see the 8 Bristol Rovers goals go in again. What did you think of Brighton yesterday?
All right.
All right. Well, that's good. That's good.
And that little boy grew up to be Ryan Giggs. OK, let's get back to some meat and potato mullerings. Who's next? Oh, yeah, time for Chelsea, Leeds and Burnley to get it in the ear. The Chelsea one is particularly funny. They get rogered at Rotherham. Rotherham!
Little ball in for Gooding, who's scored in the last 2 matches, and I thought he might fancy a try. Fern has got Breckin outside him, could hit it. Oh, good effort from Breckin, and John Breckin has scored. What a dreadful mistake by the goalkeeper, Barota.
Well, in fact, it's 2 dreadful mistakes by the goalkeeper Barota, if you count that headband he's wearing as one of them. But at least here he's actually more animated than on the next goal, in which he appears to be almost offended that Rotherham score.
The corner again, looking for more across, and that must be a goal for Fern. A long hoof forward which Gooding might get onto. All he does, and Barota up his line collides with him. It is a penalty. I thought it might be. He took an awful long time to decide. 13 minutes gone, and here's Ronnie Moore, and it's 3-0. He leaps for joy. And that is the most perfect start to a match. 13 minutes gone and Rotherham 3 goals to the good. Good ball forward for Walker. His control is good, but on that occasion he was robbed. And Henson desperate for it on the far side, and Moore is away again. But this time Barota can't bring him down. Moore's inside the area. There's the dip. It must surely go in the net. And it does, and it's Rodney Fern again. Oh, now Fern, and he's got Gooding running in the centre-forward position, but he'll use Towner. And Hutchings must dread the sight of Towner coming at him, and there's the cross for Fern! Oh, what a goal! And what a hat-trick for Rodney Fern!
Now here's where injury gets added to insult. For what it's worth, Chelsea are awarded a penalty, which they take, and yeah, they miss. But do you remember the Liverpool game a moment ago? It's got to be taken again. So they take it again. And they miss it again. And again.
Cross from Breckin and Ronnie Moore. That is a brilliant goal.
The director of this game is now fed up with showing us celebrations, so he shows us this man again. I don't know why. He's a fine-looking chap.
Brendan. Broadway telling him to give it to the goalkeeper. He declines to accept the advice. Oh dear, what a disaster! And Goddard in the end. That really was total disaster.
Well, total disaster perhaps, but what beautiful, flowing, one-touch football led us there. Watch as the defence is absolutely sliced open. Well, they sliced themselves open, and leaving the last man with but a simple tap-in. Wouldn't it have been just beautiful, though, if Goddard had missed this?
Allen. Plenty of yellow shirts back. And it's going to come to Shanks. And it's deflected in by Brennan.
This also sums up a lot about a right hammering. On other days, this deflection would not have found its man. Found him like an exocet. And even then, his effort gets that vital and stupid lift straight into the goal. As a supporter, it's about now you realise you've lost your train ticket home too.
Roda timing is interception superbly and leading a promising counter. Walsh to his right, two others to his left. Goes to Walsh, Allen is now unmarked. And Goddard gets it in! And Bowles finds Wicks, and Goddard couldn't get on the end. Oh, beautifully taken by David McCreary!
Well, you say beautifully taken, Barry, but have another look. This is a ridiculous goal, engineered by some ridiculous men, all throwing some particularly ridiculous shapes.
Wallace, Allen to his left, boy can go alone. Here is Allen. That's 5, so simple. Here's Wallace. Here's Bowles if he can get there, and that will be a penalty without any question.
Just watch where the photographer positions himself.
Well, the goalkeeper moved and was in no position to make a stop. Bowles immediately to Walsh, draws Thompson, 2 against 1 in the middle. Walsh taking a long time to take advantage of that fact. Here is the man over. And, oh dear, it's Rona who scores in the end. Rona who got it in the end.
This dopey goal is a study in team relations. Glenn Roeder, you'll see, is just happy to be part of the attack. And when Clive Allen misses the initial chance, he's already celebrating. Gets the chance himself to finish it off and thinks, be happy for me, lads, I've just scored. But how happy is Clive Allen? Meantime, the fella on the line is waiting for that photographer. This game can be subtitled John's Nightmare or I Should Be So Lukic.
Paul Madeley, 36 years old now. He's played better passes than that. Now he has to check to cover John Hollins. And an own goal by John Lukic.
Shocking own goal by John Lukic. See, Lukic is too tall, we all know that. And when he has to come down and breathe the same air as the rest of us, he's always prone to do this sort of thing.
Devine and now Talbot. Sunderland again. Arsenal have 4 waiting for the cross. Flicked on by Ricks. Sansom was right in there, and that was Gatting! And Arsenal go 2 in front. Here's Sansom, who will keep it in. Hollins joining Sunderland and McDermott in the middle, and it's Hollins! And that was surely over the line.
Oh, but by no more than a yard and a half. Can you imagine all your family being in the stands on a day like this? Or women you fancy. You've got them tickets, you've swanked around beforehand, arranged to meet them for a drink afterwards. And then you turn in this steamer of a show.
Gatting's tackle that won the ball back for Arsenal. McDermott is the only man that they've got forward. Prepared to take on Cherry. Talbot's arriving in the middle, and McDermott finds him. Can Brian Talbot make it 4? He can! This time it's Walford who leads the charge forward. He has McDermott to his left, Sunderland going through the middle. And Sunderland's shot makes it 5! And it's now becoming a rout.
I've said this before, but so much of football supporting is about celebrating the loss of dignity. Usually in small ways, referee falls over, copper gets his hat knocked off, ugly defender scores own goal. Well, that's also true of the next game we're going to see, but it's in a much more subtle way. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United, November 1990. True, neither team is particularly loved outside their own set of supporters, and either side winning wouldn't be noted as that outrageous. And yet here were the circumstances. Arsenal were a very powerful team in November 1990. They were swaggering top gunners, haughty and proud. United was still an awkward, disappointing outfit whose manager, still Ferguson, was always threatened with getting the boot. Nobody doubted that Arsenal were going to show these would-be maestros the door that night. It didn't happen. And what followed laid the foundations for much of United's current success, confidence and reputation. It was November 1990.
Tremendous amount at stake for both these clubs, particularly for Manchester United. Their chances of the league championship slipping away. Blackmore's shot hits with great venom! Terrific shot! And Manchester United go into the lead. Inside 2 minutes. Blackmore. Getting it to Sharp. Into Wallace. Oh, now for Hughes! Another one! Mark Hughes, number 2. But it's still with Manchester United and Lee Sharp onto the right foot. It's another one! 3-0! A fantastic goal by Lee Sharp. I haven't seen the magic of Anders Limpar yet tonight. Maybe that's waiting for us in the second half. There's his free kick, up goes Pallister. In goes Bold. And Thomas! Terrific save! Smith! And Arsenal get the encouragement of that early goal. Alan Smith. Deafening noise here at Highbury now as Arsenal come looking for that second goal. Adams! Was it over the line? Smith! Leclerc to Irwin. Oh, some space here now for Hughes. No foul. Hughes finding Irwin. The cross is a good one. And it's a splendid goal there by Lee Sharp again. Hughes to Wallace. There's a lovely chance now for Sharp on a hat-trick. And he's got it! 5 for United, 3 to Lee Sharp. To Hughes. Wallace waiting in the middle. McClare's in there too. And it's another one, Wallace. It's 6. The sky has fallen in on Arsenal tonight.
While we're dealing with rampant Reds, here's one of my favourite performances of any football team ever. It's at Northampton with George Best. Before we see this cup game, bear in mind I hate underdogs. I really do. I can't bear tiny grounds full of rosy-cheeked optimists who only ever seem to turn up at football matches when they get a kind draw in the FA Cup. And besides, these days, plucky underdogs almost expect to win. Well, if ever there was a case of, sorry folks, this fairy tale's a grim one. It happened February 1970, Northampton versus Manchester United.
Dixie McNeil. Yeah. Ferren forward for Kidd. In the middle is Morgan and Best. Book could lose it, it's Best! Georgie Best! Well, what a comeback! What a way to come back into big-time football. Georgie Best, 1-0. Good jump then by Dave Sadler. Ferren through for Best. Here he goes again. Georgie Best. What a beautiful bit of running by this man. Fairbrother. Charlton feeding Kidd. Best free in the middle. Willie Morgan coming over to help Kidd now. And a chance for Best. Here's the hat-trick. There it is eventually. Well. Georgie Best makes it a hat-trick.
but that third one is the easiest he'll ever score.
Easy, but Northampton manage a scramble. And what a scramble. What a terrible surrender of the male dignity chromosome.
4 men forward, Kidd on his left, Morgan in the middle with Best, and on the far side is Crerand. Brian Kidd. Saver then was Brooks. Kidd again. Here's Best. Number 4. Georgie Best, just the tiniest touch. Touch for Kidd. Brian Kidd. Dave Sadler, sure as a rock. There's the substitute, Burns. Right in action right away. Best going through the middle. He's on for 5. There it is. Oh, Georgie Best. What a difference this man makes to any front line. There's George Best. 2 Burns. There's Kidd forward. On the far side are 2 unmarked men. One of them is Willie Morgan, who should get another goal here. No, Kidd does. Well, you got to feel sorry for Brook then. He made the first save, dropped the ball, and Kidd whacks it in. That's number 7. Number 4 running is Clark. That's a good ball. There's Large. And now Dixie McNeil. It's there. Dixie McNeil gets one back. Kidd winning this ball. Faced by Rankmore, who has a chance to intercept. Kidd not able to move as fast as he was earlier. Kidd, who's twice been down with an injury. Is Crerand. Best. Here's the record. There it is. Georgie Best sets a new scoring record for Manchester United. 6 goals in a game. Rankmore getting it forward. As Kiernan moves in on 4-5 defenders, United defenders. Fairbrother. Cross ball, Large going in, and he's got it. Frank Large.
Let's have some balance, shall we? Let's show Old Trafford that it's just when the season is tootling along swimmingly, it's clear blue sky out there, you're dealing with your fixtures with your hat on the side of your head, it's just then when fate decides to slip a little lead into the opposition's boxing glove.
Mulligan. Don Rogers. Oh, nicely inside the full back for Mulligan. Here's a chance and a goal! Scored by Mulligan, but made beautifully by Don Rogers.
So enter Dennis Law, who, should Paul Gascoigne ever forget, is the great godfather of the scene-stealing cutaway shot.
So it looks as though that great character, Dennis Law, comes on for Manchester United. Frank O'Farrell now come away from the director's box to be in the trainer's bench with Malcolm Musgrove and the injured Tony Dunn. So Law had his boots inspected to make sure the studs were all right. And good play there by Bobby Bell. Now the chase is on. Rogers going faster than any of them. Still with Rogers. All played inside for Mulligan. And another goal! Paddy Mulligan's second. Made for him by Don Rogers, just as the first one was. Whittle. Rogers, and he's onside, Don Rogers. Kicks it one side now. That's there. That's number 3. Tremendous presence of mind by Don Rogers. Here's up. And Whittle goes on. Hughes. Whittle. Well, that's incredible. Yes! And a whistle!
And laughing along with it, United's Politburo from left to right, Frank O'Farrell, Matt Busby, and I think that's Patrick Moore at the end. Keep it down, but within 48 hours, they'd fired O'Farrell. What did he just say? He said they're firing the man in front of me on Monday, sir.
Blythe coming in for Palace. And this has been their greatest afternoon. And there's Rodgers. Will this be 5? It's going to be 5. It is 5. Ron Rodgers, his second. Crystal Palace is 5th. And that is utter and total confusion.
Alex Stepney glowers up at the director's box. And as you can see, Frank O'Farrell enjoys the full support of the ball. Here's a little bit of background. Gary Bailey, a famous South African. But did you know his dad used to play in goal at Ipswich, and it had always been Gary's dream to turn out at Portman Road. Sadly for him, he was the only United player that day who even felt like playing in Suffolk.
So here's Sloane, the fair-haired one, taking Ray Wilkins' place in midfield. It's his first full game. Had a good ball forward, and Brazil's in a possession. He's not offside. Brazil scores! And Manchester United's marking let them down, and Brazil tucks one past Gary Bailey. Deep for Paul Mariner. Paul Mariner gets there. Brazil is onto that one. Mariner. It's in. Forward for Tyson. Burley's so free on that right-hand side. Jordan comes over the cover now, and here's Gates in here. And the referee's in the way of Buchan. And Bailey in trouble here as Mariner puts it in. Back to Muren. Forward here for Mariner to turn. He hit a United player, it was Sloane. And Mariner's in here well. Beautiful run, he's down, and it's a penalty. Tyson. Saved it. Well done, Gary Bailey. Buchan. Gates. Muren through well here with Mariner's help. Mariner now with a chance to wing one. Down he goes, another penalty. Kevin Beattie. He's done it again. Once more. And off the line by Koppel.
Unbelievably, having saved 2 penalties, the referee's going to make him face a 3rd. So here's one for the old man.
Oh, Gary Bailey. What a great round of success that was. Jordan with Osman there waiting to pick it up. Straight to Gates. Tyson, the space there is still huge and inviting. Mariner. And here comes Brazil. Gary Bailey totally exposed again, not his fault. Muren losing Sloane, finding Brazil, and can this one fall to Mariner? No. It might well fall to Tyson though. He's got it. Tyson now. Tyson again. What a disaster again in that Manchester United penalty area.
If you've got any friends who are droning on and on recently about the invincibility of Manchester United, you may want to make them watch this clip and remind them that next time they sing lustily of being by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, there was that period, particularly during 1980, when their defence simply couldn't have been more obliging.
In comes Beattie. The goalkeeper was right out of position. Koppel has it and he gives it away. Gates is in there. The chance for number 6. There's 2 players in support. Mariner has done it. It's a hat-trick. It's 6.
Earlier on, you might have thought I was being a little tough on underdogs. Well, let me tell you why. I speak from bitter experience. Millwall v Ipswich in the Cup quarter-finals. In those days, it took a Cup quarter-final to get the cameras down to our ground. Fact was, they thumped us 6-1. At our own ground, 6-1. on network TV. 6-1. Sadly, the tape of that game has been lost. Not so for all you West Brom and Southampton supporters. We've managed to find what Ipswich did to you. Weird team, Ipswich, aren't they?
Bennett and Johnson. Lambert. Brian Hamilton's wide on the left. This is Lambert. Oh my word, what a shot! Brian Hamilton now. Got Wymark and Lambert over the far side, and Johnson too, if Burley can get it over. Not strong enough. And now it's Wymark!
You know, I'm no scientist, but isn't a pattern starting to emerge here? Haven't all these teams we've seen on the wrong end of a right hammering deserved it? Look at this defending from Hugh Fisher. And most telling of all, he doesn't even bother to watch the outcome of his blunder. Just turns away before it's in the net. And here's a kind of celebrating we don't see much of anymore. Number 9 Johnson lets him know it's ill-advised even in 1974.
Mills. Yes! Brian Hamilton.
Now, who'd have thought of taking a crack at it when you're faced with such a well-organised wall? Yeah, such vision deserves to be rewarded.
Beattie. Johnson. Now Wymark. Johnson. Wymark. Hamilton again. Morris to Johnson. Mills. Oh my word! What on earth happened to that?
And so, the latest in a long line of shots of goalkeeper Eric Martin looking wretched. And who says goalkeepers' shirts used to be better years ago? Even on the slow-mo, it's not perfectly clear what does happen to this ball.
Goes Beattie. Wymark. Mills then. On his left goes Talbot to make a different angle. Excellent running once more. Woods is down the line, but he's tightly marked. In comes Wymark. Knocked down nicely to Walk. Now Beattie comes up. And out here there's a lot of freedom for Mills behind. Beattie's going on his own. Oh, pick that one up. Truitt doing well to get that one against Osborne. Burley keeping it in well. Wymark to Mariner. What a beautiful opening. Oh, what a goal. And Mariner waiting for help. Mariner on his own. Oh, what a goal! And he's battled away and won it back again. Wymark.
Keith Burchin. Wymark is with him. Now Woods is over this side. Wymark perhaps will go alone. Oh, it's in!
And now, remember this? Gillingham 11, Liverpool 1. No, you can relax. It never happened. Would have been nice though, wouldn't it? See, with Liverpool, an entirely different criteria applies. 4-0 or 5-1 is seen as a hammering for them. Bit like Wimbledon. They never get walloped neither. However, I am eternally grateful to Liverpool for one result in recent years that stands as still an avalanche, a nightmare. And they dumped it all over Crystal Palace. 9 goals to 0. Now, I don't care what you say. No team is entitled to meet any other team in an ordinary league game and win 9-0. For the losers, it should mean instant relegation. Or maybe they should be just banned for a couple of months from playing anyone. Or better yet, disband them altogether so they never play anyone else again. Well, you get the picture. In researching this video, I went to the Oxford English Dictionary to look up the word defeat. There was just a picture of Crystal Palace's side that night. Elsewhere, defeat is defined as to reduce to submission in battle or contest, matter decided, to frustrate, to baffle, to annul, to conduct thinking that tends to bring around acceptance of inferiority. In other words, Liverpool 9, Crystal Palace 0. Here comes the inevitable Anfield penalty. And as John Aldridge places the ball on the spot, look at Palace's number 6, O'Reilly. He's already making contingency plans for the breakaway attack. Plan on. John Barnes reminds us how good his party piece used to be. With the Palace wall about as effectual as that Southampton two-man approach. Actually, has anybody got an abacus? I think I've lost count. What is this goal? 15, 16? Goal number 8, which just leaves us with... 9. Soon, much too soon for me, it's all over. Palace stagger off, stunned, bewildered, wrecked. John Aldridge goes to the Kop end to offer up mementos. His shirt, his boots, and the soul of Steve Coppell. To this day, any vaguely acceptable result that Crystal Palace have against Liverpool is seen as avenging that night. But truthfully, nothing ever will. Ever. Nothing can ever soothe the trauma of a result like that. Derby know it. They met Liverpool as recently as 1991. I suppose Palace could take some comfort that their annihilation didn't happen in front of their own fans. No such luck for Derby, whose team at the time included Mark Wright and Dean Saunders. Of course, they were soon to both join Liverpool. Peter Shilton was soon on his way to Plymouth. Now, Shilts was never one to dismiss defeat with a light laugh, and yet this must remain his blackest afternoon. You're watching the first of 7 goals he conceded that day. So, out of kindness to him, let's just rattle through them. Derby pulled themselves level. This made it 2-1. (3-1). 4-1. 5-1. 'Wait for it, wait for it. 6-1. The final goal of the afternoon, and by now, the best Derby can hope for is a draw. Excellent though these freak shows may be, isn't it tragic that TV sports directors rarely bring us the images that truly reflect the football supporters' experience? Those moments of stunned silence we wanted to bring you, big shots of away supporters watching as goals 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hurtled in against their team. That's the first thing you look for when your team scores a goal. Sadly, TV only wants to bring us the upbeat, PR, soft underbelly images of celebration, so they simply don't exist. Except occasionally, and you have to look here at the players as much as the crowd. This is a game between Derby County and Finn Harps of Ireland. Finn Harps arrived at the game on a wing and a prayer, but that prayer rapidly became the last rites. UEFA Cup first round, and the biggest margin of defeat you'll find on this tape. Finn Harps, the signs weren't good from the first goal. All night the goalkeeper played like he thought he was a linesman and just there to see if the ball crossed the line or not. Didn't have a lot of luck, and threw the ball out in a manner that was almost sad. This happened not once, but every time. Derby sniffed blood, and if it was to be a slaughterhouse, Charlie George wanted to be head butcher. Every attack was ending in a goal, despite the full-length dramatic dives of the keeper, who was still perfecting his match-winning throw. His defence would obligingly jump over free kicks. In the second half, the Irish motto became, "Our time is your time. Please, there's no rush. Browse. If you can't find what you want at first, we'll be happy to help." You must remember at this point, there really were 11 players on each side. Here's the last goal of the evening. Now children, can you remember how many goals we've seen? Well, it's 12, and as Derby manager Dave Mackay said afterwards, in the second leg, we will be underestimating the opposition. Now, if that seemed like arrogant showing off, what are we to make of TV's most notorious historical display of bullying, Leeds 7, Southampton 0? It's not just the result, it's just that never, ever has one team swaggered and swanked so much at another team's expense. It was like a madness descended on Ellen Road, and they wanted to take the Saints and torment them, tease them, bait them. In fact, if Southampton had been animals, there'd have been national outrage.
Gray to Bremner. Forward for Gray again. Jones, Gray. Clark out to the left. In comes Clark. Gray through to Lorimer. Jones coming in. Number 2. So much quicker. John Giles, look at the space there. On for Clark. Here's Lorimer. Clark. Jenkins. Giles. Free kick against Stokes. No, it's not given, but here's Lorimer. And I think that must count as an own goal. Fry giving it straight to Peter Lorimer for number 5. All the stripes coming out. Hunter's offside. He's got back now. Play number 6. Gray moving to the near post. Jack Charlton. Gray. Held off. Lorimer is underneath it. In comes Jones. Maitland. To say that Leeds are playing with Southampton is the understatement of the season. Poor Southampton just don't know what day it is. Every man jack of this Leeds side is now turning it on. Oh, look at that! It's almost cruel. The Ellen Road crowd are lapping it up. For the second home match running, Leeds United are turning on a brilliant show, and the other team are just not on the park. Even when a pass goes astray, they can pick it up. It's got to feel some sympathy for Southampton. The gap between their position and Leeds is an almighty chasm. Jack Charlton is miles offside forward, that's why Lorimer's holding it.
Well, we've got to close now because, well, the tape's going to run out. It's your own fault. You should have bought a 180. But before you relax and feel relieved that your own team's personal hell wasn't on this tape, think again. We've got all those results, yes, even your hell, on a tape back here. Now, there doesn't have to be a volume 2, and let's say I'm a reasonable man. 10 grand as a cash donation should see 1 or 2 of these results taped over with EastEnders, wiped from the face of the earth. The choice is yours. And while you think about it, have a good, hard, lingering look at the poor wretches, the faces of the defeated that we're going to play out with. Do you recognise anyone? Can you see yourself here? Sure you can. Have a good time, football supporters. And remember, I can see you sneaking out. I can see you sneaking out. Are you still here? You're one of those people who plays the tape all the way to the end, are you? Well, you've been rewarded. Here's something of a bonus, and it's not something I wanted to do. On the last tape I made for VVL, I made a bit of a boast. In the heat of the moment, a rash claim. It turned into a bet. Firstly, this is what I said. I will say this, though. England will go to the USA in '94, and they're going to win the World Cup. In spite of everything, read my lips. We're going to win the World Cup in '94. Now, I said, if that doesn't happen, I'll quite happily sit there and let myself be abused, laughed at, do whatever you want. I won't say a word, and that doesn't happen often. Well, it didn't happen, so off you go. Okay, that's enough. Isn't it? Jim, turn the lights out, would you?